In the world of software development, there's a huge collision happening right now. On one side, you've got this relentless push for speed. Ship faster, build more, go, go, go. And on the other, there's that timeless desire for quality, for true craftsmanship. Well, AI just showed up and poured a giant can of gasoline on that fire, forcing all of us to ask a really uncomfortable question. Seriously, think about that for a second. Is perfect code now a liability? This is at the heart of a massive debate blowing up in engineering teams everywhere. Could the very thing we've all been trained to chase, that beautiful, elegant, perfect code, actually be the thing that's holding us back in the age of AI? Now, you might think this is a totally new problem, but to really get what's happening, we gotta look back. This fight between perfect and good enough is as old as engineering itself. The difference is, today, that old fight has a brand new, terrifying sense of urgency. I mean, this has been a tug of war for decades. Way back in the 50s, this idea of satisficing pops up, which basically just means aiming for a solution that's good enough, not the absolute perfect one. Then you fast forward to the 90s, and the whole agile movement pretty much bakes that idea into its DNA. But, and this is a big but, there's always been that counter voice, that fear that good enough is really just a polite way of saying not very good. So let's just nail down this term, satisficing. It's a great word, right? It's a mashup of satisfy and suffice. And it comes from this psychological insight that, as humans, we just don't have the time or brain power to find the absolute best, most optimal solution to every single problem. So instead, we look for an answer that just works, one that ticks the boxes. And this one little idea is really the foundation for this entire good enough philosophy. Because chasing perfection, it sounds noble, but it has some very real and very high hidden costs. I mean, first, there's opportunity cost. Every hour you spend polishing feature A is an hour you're not even starting feature B. Then there's good old analysis paralysis, where you're so scared of making the wrong call that you make no call at all. And, of course, diminishing returns. You know, we're getting from 80% to 95% perfect takes up like 80% of your total effort. But honestly, the biggest one might be team morale. Nothing kills a team's spirit faster than working on something that never, ever ships. Okay, so that's the backstory. For decades, it's been a philosophical debate. But now it's a crisis, because that debate just got supercharged by the explosion in AI code generation. What was once a discussion over coffee is now a full-blown emergency on engineering floors everywhere. And the reason is simple. The sheer volume of code has exploded. I mean, the numbers are just nuts. With tools like Copilot, a developer isn't just a little more productive. They're churning out 2, maybe even 3 times as much code as they were just a few years ago. We've created a fire hose of code, but we haven't figured out how to manage it. And this brings us to what people are calling the review gap. Just think about it for a sec. Code creation just hit light speed, but our ability to review it, to understand it, to make sure it's any good, that's still a human process, and it's stuck in first gear. We've become the bottleneck. And this is the absolute heart of the problem. We're pumping out an insane amount of code with 21st century tools, but we're trying to check it with a 20th century process. Pull requests are just piling up into these massive digital mountains, and something has to give. And that intense pressure is forcing some pretty radical, even controversial, new ways of thinking. So with this giant review gap staring them in the face, some developers are embracing let's call it a radical new philosophy. It totally rethinks the whole speed versus quality equation, and it goes by a name that's not exactly flattering, but it is honest: Slop. You might have heard it called vibe coding. The name says it all, right? You vibe, the AI codes. It's this idea that you get into a flow with the tool, and you just accept its output, even if it isn't perfect, just to keep the momentum going. The core belief is that shipping something that works right now, even if the code is a bit messy, a bit sloppy, is way better than shipping something perfect eventually. And this quote just nails the mindset. For years, we were all taught that clean code was the investment you make to avoid technical debt down the road. But this new school of thought completely flips that. It says that in today's market, the act of chasing perfection is the new technical debt. It's the thing that's actually slowing you down and costing you opportunities. So let's just lay it out. The old way was invest time now, save pain later. The new radical view is market speed is everything. It says, yeah, that AI-generated code might be a little weird or verbose, but if it works, ship it. Because the strategic win of being first to market is worth more than having elegant code. But, and this is a really, really big but, this path is loaded with risk. Because you see, that slop that works might get you a quick win today, but it can create an absolute maintenance nightmare tomorrow. Trying to debug someone else's or something's messy AI code can be brutal. And worse, it might seem to work fine, passing all the basic tests, but it's hiding some bizarre bug that only shows up on an edge case. And the data's backing this up. A huge chunk of AI-generated code is getting completely rewritten or just deleted shortly after it's committed. So much for moving fast, huh? Okay, so if just accepting the slop and going for reckless acceleration is a trap, what's the answer? Are we just stuck? Well, no. A more mature, more disciplined approach is starting to emerge. It's about getting all the speed of AI, but without all the chaos. And people are starting to call it vibe engineering. And the key here is a complete shift in how you think. Vibe engineering says your prompts, the instructions you give the AI, are not just disposable one-liners you throw away. No, they are architectural artifacts. You treat them like code. You put them in version control, you review them, you perfect them over time. It's about engineering the conversation with the AI, not just accepting the final code. And this isn't just a vague idea. There's a real process to it. First, you do the pre-work. You set up guardrails to teach the AI the rules of your specific project. Then comes the most important part. Planning. You draft your prompts like they're design documents, you have your team review them, and you check them into source control. And only then, once the plan is solid, do you execute and let the AI generate the code. And the difference is just night and day. Vibe coding is all about disposable hacks and uncritically accepting whatever the machine gives you. Vibe engineering is structured, it's iterative, it's supervised. One is chasing reckless acceleration, the other is aiming for something much more powerful, supervised speed. And that's really the big idea to take away from all this. This isn't about hitting the brakes on AI. It's about learning how to steer. Supervised speed means you get all those amazing velocity benefits from AI, but you do it with human wisdom and architectural intent guiding the whole process, making sure the entire thing doesn't just run right off the rails. So all of this leaves us with a huge question about what comes next. For years, the hero of every engineering story was the code artisan, right? The person who could handcraft the most beautiful, elegant solution. But in this new world, is the most valuable engineer actually the person who can architect the conversation? The one who can design the perfect prompts to guide an AI to build reliable systems at a scale and speed we've never seen before? The answer to that question is probably going to define the next decade of software.